It's August 27th, 2012. Liam Hendriks is filling in a spot start for the Minnesota Twins and just trying to maintain his place in the big leagues. He's making just his second start after once again being called up by the Twins. And let's see, why was he sent down in the first place? Oh! His opponent? Felix Hernandez. Hendriks isn't being asked to outduel the king, he just needs to keep the Twins in this one. After starting his career with 0 wins and 9 losses, outdueling one of the best pitchers of the past decade wouldn't be a bad way to get his first win. But let's be honest, he's not doing that. Hernandez is just 2 starts removed from his perfect game, and this poor little Aussie isn't beating that. 9 innings of baseball later, and Hendriks is still on the mound, throwing a scoreless top of the 9th and giving the Twins a chance to tie this game in the bottom half with just 1 run, or walk it off and give Hendriks one of the best nights of his life during the best night of his life. With 1 runner on and 1 out, Justin Morneau steps up to the plate. What can you do for us, Mr. Morneau?
Bounce to short. 6-4.
Ah, shucks. We're in Pittsburgh, and there's a buzz in the air for Pirates baseball, something that hasn't been felt for the better part of a decade. Gloom still fills the air from past Pirates teams, and because it's raining. But the condensation can only delay the crowning of a new face of the franchise for so long. The sky would clear, and so began a new era of Pittsburgh baseball. Skenes would burn through hitters with 100-mile-per-hour heaters, throwing 17 in just his first start, and putting his name in the history books just 4 innings into his career. 17 pitches over 100 miles an hour would already put him in the top 30 among starting pitchers, not just across the season, but a list occupied by entire careers. His rookie season would continue with historic feats, becoming only the 5th rookie pitcher ever to start the All-Star game, and doing it in only 11 games. He would put up the lowest ERA of any starting pitcher ever to win Rookie of the Year, and when comparing ERA+, there is no one even in Skenes' stratosphere. His .216 figure would come in 50 points higher than the next pitcher to reach 100 innings in their rookie campaign, meaning the difference between Skenes and the next closest arm is comparable to the difference between 2022 Dylan Moore and 2025 Shohei Ohtani. 2022 Aaron Judge put up an OPS plus of .210 in one of the best hitting seasons we've ever seen. Skenes' ERA plus of .216 just beats out Judge, meaning that Skenes as a pitcher in his rookie season was better than Aaron Judge as a hitter in his record-breaking 2022 campaign. The Pirates ace would finish with an 11-3 record, 1.96 ERA, and a whip below 1 en route to the best rookie pitching season we've ever seen. And he's continued his dominance into 2025, but if he's in the history books for this season, it won't be from his dominant performance. We're back in 2012. We've already felt the emotions of Hendriks, but what about Hernandez? He's just 2 starts removed from his perfect game, and he's already thrown another complete game shutout, but I'm sure what he's feeling is far from elation. His run support in these 2 games combined is just 2 runs. The weight on his shoulders is arguably the heaviest a pitcher has ever carried in the history of the sport. Through 2012 at least. In his quest for perfection against the Rays, Hernandez was just 1 Jesus Montero single away from losing his perfect game, which makes perfect sense if Jesus Montero played for the Rays, but he's a Mariner. Only 1 run of support in a perfect game is just 1 single away from being a no decision. Felix is used to it though. This team's best position player by WAR was Brendan Ryan, so how about we use OPS Plus again to see how good of a hitter he was. The 2012 Seattle Mariners' most valuable position player is more than 40% below league average. But honestly, Felix would kill for this offense back in 2010. Hernandez would dominate hitters this year in his quest for his first Cy Young, putting his team in a position to win every start to the tune of a 2.27 ERA. But the 2010 Mariners offense would do everything to keep the Cy Young out of the Kings' hands. Not because they wanted to. I mean, that would be a good conspiracy video, but I don't think so. I think it's more just because they couldn't hit the ball. Only one qualified hitter that is barely above league average, but if we exclude the aging Ichiro, every other batsman on this team is well below average. So Hernandez took matters into his own hands, throwing the most innings of any American League pitcher on the Cy Young ballot while having the lowest ERA. These stats should have stamped Hernandez's name into the history books, but with more than half a century of Cy Young voting precedents against him, the award wasn't a guarantee. I won't go into too much detail because Foolish Baseball already has a video on Felix's 2010 Cy Young campaign that's better than I could create. But wins had long since been a priority in Cy Young voting, and Felix didn't have many of those, almost achieving a higher total in the loss column. So, going into his final 3 starts, he would need to be pretty special if he wanted to lock up the Cy Young. That's pretty special. 8 innings of 1-run ball in all 3 of his last 3 starts. In his second to last start of the season, he would surrender a first-inning homer to Jose Bautista, then go 7 1/3 scoreless innings, retiring 13 straight batters. And he would still receive a loss. A truly historic outing. You can search some of the most notable low-run support seasons, searching for the mythical 8-inning plus 1-run given up loss, and still not find results. Randy Johnson in 04, 16-14 record, 2.6 ERA. Nada. No such game. Nolan Ryan in 87, 8-16 record, 2.76 ERA. Nope. Bob Gibson's 1969 season, 20-13 record, and a 2.18 ERA. Still, it's a no. We can even look into the future from Felix's 2010 campaign. 2018 Jacob deGrom, arguably one of the most infamous low-run support seasons, 10-9 record, 1.7 ERA, and you guessed it, it's still a no. To find a real example of one such season having the 8-inning 1-run loss, we have to go all the way back to the days when pitchers were going 11 innings on just 1 day of rest. Johnson would throw 11 innings of scoreless ball while pitching just 2 days prior, and like Hernandez, he would receive the loss. So, as you can imagine, Walter checked this box a couple times, but that's over a century ago. This kind of game has truly become the crown jewel on the top of historic low-run support seasons. What the? Where'd this name from 2025 come from? And he's done it twice? The 2025 season has been nothing short of incredible for Paul Skenes, but his performance on its own isn't what makes this season historic. I mean, yes, a 1.83 ERA is unreal, and he's having one of the best pitching seasons ever. But even as recent as Jacob deGrom have we seen this level of dominance from a starter. It's the level Skenes is pitching at, combined with his run support, that makes this season so unimaginable. deGrom's 2018, the season we just mentioned, is about the only other season that can come close to Felix's in terms of lacking run support. But with a little less than 60 games still left to play in 2025, Skenes' numbers already hold up with these two. The Pirates ace has already got deGrom beat in games with 0 runs of support, and ties Hernandez with 4 of his own. Games with just 1 run of support, Skenes falls behind, trailing deGrom and Felix by 3. But once again, with games of just 2 runs backing him, Skenes ties deGrom and falls just short of Hernandez. With about 10 starts still to come from Skenes and a Pirates team still selling at the deadline, it's more than likely that someone from Pittsburgh will be the winner of this exercise by the end of the year. But for now, Hernandez takes it. So let's even the playing field and take Hernandez being the winner of the exercise. And compare these two at, say, the All-Star break. Skenes' ERA just barely rose above 2 before the Midsummer Classic, while Hernandez's just drops below 3. So Skenes was the better pitcher, but what about run support? Well, it would be safe to assume Skenes is dominating Hernandez in the record department, since he's giving up so many less runs, but that's far from the case. Just before the break, Skenes' record sat at 4-8, while Hernandez was winning in the majority of his games, winning 7 games and only having 5 losses. Okay, well maybe Skenes was just more deserving of the losses. What if he was just pitching way worse in these games? Well, here's the amount of earned runs given up by Skenes in each loss prior to the All-Star break. And here's what the list looks like for Felix. Okay, so Skenes outpaces historic seasons just 100 games into the year. And when you compare his stats to Hernandez at the All-Star break, he dominates there as well. But there's no better way to measure run support than comparing individual games. Game score is a stat that attempts to dilute a pitcher's performance into one number, and honestly, it's pretty great. You start with 50 points and gain points for each out recorded, innings pitched past the fourth, and strikeouts, and you lose points for hits, runs, and walks allowed. So let's say an average MLB start is 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 6 hits allowed, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. That comes in at a 51. So right around 50 is average. 60 would be a good start, 70, that's starting to be elite, and 80 is pretty much best night of most pitchers' lives kind of territory. Anything above that is pretty much reserved for no-hitters and perfect games. As you can imagine, most losses tend to dip below that average of 50, but when we're talking about elite pitchers with low run support, the numbers can look a little different. Nolan Ryan, in his best 2 starts of his 1987 season that were losses, comes up with a 71 and a 64 game score respectively. 2 bordering on elite starts that should have never ended up in losses, but the stats only get more ridiculous from here. 69 Bob Gibson's best losses are 2 elite starts, coming in with a 70 and a 68. 18 DeGrom gives us 2 70s of his own, and here's where the numbers truly get silly. Felix in 2010 put up a game score of 76 in a loss, coming in closer to best night of a pitcher's life than just an elite start. So while his next best loss is a 58, that 76 is unreal. Randy Johnson in 04 breaks the scale, putting up a 76 in his second best loss. His best, a 79. Most pitchers will never even pitch to this level, and to be rewarded with a loss truly beats the odds. But there's always a bigger fish. Skenes' second best loss is a 79, and his best gives us our first and only 80 on this scale. Liam Hendriks in late August of 2012 went out and threw the best game of his life. A night that completely saved the course of his career, and yet his statistics got worse. Truly a once-in-a-lifetime game, not just due to his performance, but because he received a loss. His game score? An 80. This supposed once-in-a-lifetime game is happening in almost 10% of Skenes' outings this year. So while Skenes' rookie season was historic, and probably the best we've ever seen, it's his sophomore season that has been unthinkable, just in a different way.